to welcome Sam. Sam is going to be talking about family offices when it comes to blockchain. I'm actually pretty excited for this. So let's go ahead and welcome Sam.
Hey, hey. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me. So $60.4 billion by 2024, expected size of blockchain. Who thinks that's about on target, more or less than what it should be? Let's do a raise of hands of those who think that's about right. Any estimates? Okay, so I subscribe to that prediction, and I think one of the drivers of that growth will be more and more institutions and family offices coming to make their plays in the space. A little bit about me. I started out working in the blockchain space in 2013. Was part of the first ICO Mastercoin protocol, which was later rebranded as Omni. Also ran BitAngels Network and the dApps Fund thereafter, deploying capital to more than a few projects, some of which you may know. And at the end of 2017, the fund distributed its assets, and I've been investing and advising on my own thereafter. One of my clients is a family office, hence I'm talking about that. So I wanted to take the opportunity to give you all a sense of how we think inside a family office so that it gives you the context to plug in whatever it is that you're doing to take advantage of that source of funding. So at the moment, our thinking goes, we're deploying funds into four main different asset classes. We do, obviously, venture funds and direct investments to companies and development projects. So I call that the company and venture asset class. Then we're also looking at real estate. Real estate deals go from commercial to residential and pure land plays, as well as some subsidiaries that might be involved. So without getting into further detail there, let's leave it at that for the asset category. Then we're looking at traded portfolios. And then number 4 is the trademarks and patents. So what does blockchain signify in all those 4 asset categories? Obviously, what we're looking to do is deploy funds into venture funds or fund of funds. So examples of those might be the Keiretsu fund of funds that will later downstream invest into venture funds. So if you are looking to start a venture fund, that's obviously a great source for you to try to plug into. Fund of funds, if you're looking to invest particularly in the blockchain space as a fund of funds, family offices would love to meet you. The other aspect when you come to real estate, if any of you are looking to either in the form of an asset tokenization or securitization of real estate ownership, that's another really interesting opportunity because it's recognized that a tokenized real estate asset portfolio will be able to trade at a premium with the functionalities of greater liquidity, greater market size of target audience. When it comes to trading, I think there's a growing interest in the multiple strategies that people are implementing. One domain of the traded portfolios fall under what I'd call the market agnostic hedge funds that are looking to recognize that there will be inefficiencies in the marketplace, whether Bitcoin is going up or down, whether altcoins are performing well or not. And those seem to check off the boxes for some investment institutions that want to say, I do invest in blockchain hedge funds. And so if you're looking to set up a hedge fund, that might be an interesting strategy to pursue. The second option is, of course, to take long-term bets on the future direction of the market and get your hands on tokenized asset portfolios that are similar to more of a venture bet. And I think those are the 2 categories to contemplate under the traded funds. So other assets category of the trademarks and patents, I think there are a few different plays to be made here. One could be a fund strategy that looks to either incubate or buy patents and trademarks to then obviously license out. And another one is as there's some flexibility in the market. In the early days, there are many of these applications that are developing solutions but not really contemplating the intellectual property protection. And then there are those that are developing the patents but not caring so much about the implementation. And I think as the market matures, there's going to be a significant level of litigation, and it'll be a really interesting context to see what will happen the privately held IPs that are implemented in open source projects. So I think there would be an interesting play to be made for the intellectual property attorneys in the space to, again, engage with intellectual property plays within a family office. So I wanted to give you that kind of basic infrastructure of how we think inside the family office, those 4 asset categories, and what it means for the blockchain entrepreneurs, blockchain folks that care about the space, and maybe give you a sense of the thinking there. So with that, I wanted to open up the conversation, see if you guys may have had any questions. Maybe you could be more particular about the opportunities you're pursuing in which an engagement with a family office might be of interest to you. Happy to be more particular about ways that could be done. Sure.
Let me give you the mic for the.
Hello. How do you decide whether an investment in a blockchain company is good for you or not? How do you decide to invest?
So when we do direct investments, which is not as often, we would look at the 10 to 12 variables like any venture fund would, beginning with the team core value proposition, the legal and regulatory compliance aspects, the go-to-market product, market fit strategy, the use of funds, and making sure that to us it makes sense and that the deployed capitals will be able to take it to the level that the entrepreneurs want to see it in the context of the next 1.5 to 2 years before the next round of funding. So we have a series of experts looking at the due diligence of any deal prior to deploying the capital. We defer inside the family office, usually the particular investments are deferred to the experienced VC fund managers that are committing their full-time efforts to scouting, vetting, due diligencing deals, and then actually aligning incentives with them for the post-investment management of it, so that they would also participate in the business development, structuring of partnerships, and downstream success of the entities. The deals that family offices look at directly rather than through VCs or fund of funds look at more of these development type projects that are akin to a mining or oil and gas type deal that they might be engaging on a case by case basis without an intermediary and more directly. So a Bitcoin mining operation might really be an interesting venue to look at directly, and in those cases it's more predictable financial projections based on assumptions on the market and what we can hedge in the futures and options and derivatives marketplaces on the revenues that would be projected into the future. Yeah. Rock?
Thanks, Sam. Let's talk about the real estate
Sure.
holdings of family offices, particularly larger holdings, commercial real estate, not residential. Is there a desire for them to, in some sense, still hold on to those, but yet diversify or at least mitigate some of the risk of holding 100% of some of those real estate assets? So in other words, maybe tokenizing them. Do you see any movement or interest in that?
Yeah, there's a growing interest in recognizing, hey, when a company goes public with part of the ownership, the value is better marked to market. And so in real estate assets, if you are able to jointly own any kind of commercial or residential property, then that increases the target audience of who might be able to buy it. So now a Chinese investor can buy a U.S. family office's investment and be a joint owner. And by increasing the target audience, you're able to mark up the bottom line of what you're able to liquidate at, provided there is obviously the KYC AML solutions to go in tandem with that. So there's growing interest, but the technical details at the moment still seem under works. And it'll be interesting to see how much of at a premium the real estate portfolios that are tokenized, either in an asset token or a security token, will end up trading. Though there is a growing recognition that that will be the case, and an interest in tokenizing. Sure.
I have a question.
Sure.
How do family offices collaborate with each other, particularly around blockchain? Are you educating each other? How's that going?
Yeah, there's a little bit of education in that we actually like to share deals and share thinking around those deals. When a VC fund seems like an interesting opportunity to deploy capital into, we like to try to syndicate and look at opportunities to exchange our mind space about particular opportunities. It comes with recognizing this is our hypothesis, what is yours, and what is the area of intersection that we can look to deploy capital together and look to advise these projects downstream.